This is the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. I'm your host, the PatMan, from the Bay to LA and beyond. So I'm doing something a little different for the next 10 days or so. I'm going to be recording I'm going to be recording mobile on my phone, some of the episodes, and which means I won't have any of the original music playing in the beginning. So I hope you guys are okay with that. If you're not, well, there's plenty of stations to listen in on, plenty of other podcasts. I'm just doing what I do. Anyway, I'm in the middle of, let me share a little limelight on my situation. I'm moving out of downtown LA. I've been living in LA for about 13 years, and I've been living in downtown LA for about 5 going on 6 years. And I have to admit I'm over it. I'm over living here in downtown LA. Figueroa is getting really, really silly with traffic. They've merged the lanes into, sometimes one lane, sometimes 2 lanes, and I foresee it just getting, worse. At about 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I'm just eye distance of the 10 freeway heading towards Long Beach, and all you see is lights, headlights, red and white, white on one side, red on the other. It's crazy. It's insane. I ran across this dealership, Toyota dealership, and I was on my bicycle, and I noticed these guys are always, they would always have, I think they closed and relocated to the spot on Olympic. But I asked one of the guys, I said, dude, how many cars do you guys sell? Would you say that you sell a month? You won't believe this, but he said they sell about 10,000 cars a month. Now, I could somewhat believe that, but it's unbelievable at the same time. That's a problem. That's the number one problem here in downtown LA and LA period. Everyone's driving. Everyone has a car. And if you look in some of these cars, in which I have on my bicycle, a lot of people are driving. They just have themselves in the car. It's not like they're carpooling or, have a carload of folks. There aren't as many Lyft and Uber drivers, but there are plenty out there. But there's still a lot of cars driving in to downtown LA on a daily basis, and I just see it getting worse. Not to mention parking. Where I stay now, parking is included, and that's rare for any of the apartments or condos or luxury apartments that's in downtown. I think some of the newer ones are including parking, but when I moved here about 5 years ago, I did a tour. There's a guy, Hal Sebastian. If you look him up on Facebook, I call him the mayor of LA, downtown LA, because he, when there's a new opening or hotel, he's right there. But I did a tour. They put on this tour I believe it's every 4th Thursday or 2nd Thursday. You have to check in with Hal. But they would give tours of all the apartments and condos that are renting in downtown LA. And that's how I, got to see a glimpse of the future of what was coming with all the new buildings and what the rent would be, moving forward. I'm paying $1,650 where I'm at. But a lot of the other places were charging $1,800 and it didn't include parking. And the directions was more like, well, we have this place this is going for $1,700. As you can see, you have a great view of all the buildings, the rest of the buildings here in downtown LA. And there's going to be a park over here. And someone asked the question, well, is there any parking? Well, no, we don't have parking, unfortunately. But if you go to the Pablo's parking lot, he charges $200 a month, like in addition to the $1,800. That's correct. That's correct, sir. Yes. $200 a month. That's what it is. It is what it is. Of all the sayings, it is what it is. I cannot. That is such a cop-out phrase. It is what it. No, it ain't what it is. It isn't what it ain't. It ain't what it gonna be. And if you settle for paying Pablo $200 for his parking to park your car there for $1,800 Cracker Jack box of a place with all the amenities that you'll never use. You'll never use them. You'll never use that barbecue pit. You'll never use that gym. You probably won't go to the rooftop. People won't visit you because there won't be anywhere to park. I'm not knocking downtown LA. It's not for me. It's not for everybody, but I can see folks gravitating and really moving in and it becoming something, something I don't care to be a part of. Visiting, yes, but living, no, not okay. Where am I headed? I'm not sure. I just started a new job after 2 years of being out of work, and I didn't get fired or anything. I actually resigned from my job after 8 years. After 8 years on the job, I resigned. The project was complete. It was a renovations and construction project for a Jewish temple in Hollywood. Things got a little weird towards the end. I got sick, and then I ended up healing myself and resigning. The thing you have to know about if you quit, and I don't know how it is elsewhere, but if you quit a job, California unemployment will not pay you. So I had to fight for it, and I still didn't get it. They were like, well, they did the interview, and so tell us what happened. I told them what happened, and they sent me a notice. Well, based on what you told us, you do not qualify for unemployment insurance. I was like, wow. So I had to burn through my savings. I burned through my retirement money, and then I started a business, my bakery, dudecanbake.com. That's an interesting thing. I'm going to talk about that as well. I went on the city's website, filled out, it's a trip because it's so cumbersome of a website. I navigated my way through, followed the steps, got the license, the permit, all that. And I needed them to approve my loft space because it was zoned, after I found out through management that it was zoned for a cottage kitchen. I drove myself to the office of the health department, and I gave them a check and awaited for them to approve. It took them 6 months to approve my kitchen because I was told that they lost the paperwork. Someone resigned. Someone went on maternity leave. Even though I was calling, I guess they said, the person you might have been talking to didn't know what the hell they were talking about. Lost my paperwork in limbo for 6 months. Burned through all my cash. Had to borrow money from people. And that's the story of my life. In that process, if I had done things a little differently, I still would have resigned from my job, but I would have taken a vacation because I was set to take a vacation, a month-long vacation, for the month of, I was going to do February. Actually, no, I was going to do March. I think I was going to do March. Yeah, I was going to do the whole month of March. But I couldn't go on vacation sick, and sick, what I mean sick is that I was experiencing these muscle spasms from stress, from the job. My breathing, I was diagnosed with asthma maybe 2 months prior. I never had asthma before in my life. I was pretty pissed off too. I was just pissed off about a lot of things that was occurring on the job. So I didn't feel like, I could go on a vacation for the month of March being sick. So I set on my path to heal myself. That's right, heal myself through the use of essential oils, through the use of studying energy medicine. It's a real thing. I got really, really into my yoga practice. At that point, I've been practicing yoga for about 5 years, every Thursday at the temple, every Thursday for about 5 years, consistent. So I really went deep into yoga and the philosophy of yoga, not what the Western society is turning yoga into. I'll quote Sadhguru, about what he said about yoga, which I thought was funny. He said, if you think yoga is about poses and moves, he's like, you're not doing yoga. You're not practicing yoga. And for one, you don't practice or do yoga. You become yoga. And I totally agree with that philosophy. But he said, if you're not really becoming yoga, you're just practicing circus. That's what he said. He said, you're just practicing circus moves. And if you look at a lot of the pictures, and I'm not taking anything away from anyone who's practicing circus moves, if you go deep into the yoga, you have to agree with this guy, because it's mind, body, spirit, chakras, all that stuff is real, and you go deep. So, I mean, who has time to take pictures while they're going deep into yoga? I mean, who's taking the pictures? That's another question. Who's taking it? If you're so deep into your yoga, how can you direct people to take pictures of you while you're doing your yoga? How can you take pictures of yourself while you're meditating? I have maybe 1 or 2 pictures in which I set up on a self timer of me doing a prayer mantra with both of my hands together, but I set that up. I was not meditating. I was not praying. I just wanted to capture that image. And I imagine that's what a lot of folks are doing. But some people are doing movies where they're, little clips where they're showing their yoga and whatnot. I have a friend who does that. But that's not what yoga is. Anyway, I got into yoga. So that's my life in the spurt over the past 2 years. And what I plan on doing with this mobile podcast for the next 10 days is coming back and going over at least 15 minutes of my journey, because it was quite the experience, and I think a lot of people can learn something from it to regards on, how to be a great employee. I was a great employee. I was actually the director and, facilities operator. So I ran the whole place. I had to manage a team of guys and also meet up with a team of staff every Monday. So I got some pointers I can point on to people who actually want to stay on the job but are probably having some issues with their supervisors or human resources or whatever. I can provide some pointers. All right, I'm almost out of time. I want to stick to the 15 minutes. This has been the Intelligent Human Voice Podcast Network. I hope you got something out of it. And We'll chat soon. Peace.